We're here tonight in the hall of St Nicholas of Myra Parish Church in KInsealy at the latest public meeting. So, Father, you spoke at this meeting and you said that you only heard recently about this development. What do you think of Fingal County Council's plans?
Well, I think, as I say, people didn't know. I only heard about it on Thursday, and then I promulgated it at the masses, and that brought the big crowd tonight because most people here didn't know about it. So it wasn't promulgated. The people didn't know. It didn't seem to come from the people. It seems to be a kind of authoritative coming down from on high. None of us knew anything. Even all these people here tonight were saying to me coming in and after the masses yesterday, we didn't know till I said it. So I would feel that, when they're doing anything of that magnitude, it should be the people first. It should be the people first. What do they feel? What do they think? What's the consensus of the people? They should be consulted.
And what do you think of the plan overall?
I'd be afraid of it. I'd be worried. And everybody here was anxious. Of course, the first thing I ran into my mind was that it mightn't happen because the government mightn't have the money. I mean, they haven't the money for health, education, the economy, to fight crime. So how are they going to produce the money for this? But if it were to materialise, it would be very serious. And it would have implications in many, many ways for our children, for the future, for the area. And also this area is prone to flooding, so the sewage could mix in with the flooding as well and be a health hazard to people. That would all worry me. But I think now that the people are being alerted all over the place and the community is standing up and being counted, I mean, it should be the power of the people. So I feel now they'll have to listen. Because the politicians, if they don't listen to us, well, they'll suffer the consequences. But I'm amazed that I read the Times every day. I'm just amazed that I hadn't heard about this. And then everybody here tonight didn't hear. And only for I told them at Mass on Sunday, they talk about the priest, the power of the priest still is there, I'll tell you. Only for me telling them at Mass on Sunday, 60% of those here tonight, including that young guy, they were all at Mass, and I was plugging them because I feel it's a very, very urgent issue, and it's an issue that would have a huge bearing on our lives and the quality of life in the community. So that's why I'm delighted we're working now and getting together and being more aware, and the people together will make sure that nothing happens that shouldn't happen.
Thanks very much, Father.
You're a gentleman.
I just can't see how it's sustainable. And apart from the 2.2 billion, when they run out of money, they won't be able to monitor or manage the plant thereafter. And what will happen if there is a problem with it? How much will it cost in the long run?
And where do you live yourself?
Just up the road in Baskin Lane.
And when did you first hear about this?
The weekend.
How?
Through a leaflet through the door.
You haven't heard anything from Fingal County Council, and you haven't seen any of their newspaper ads?
Not a thing. Haven't seen anything at all about it.
Councillor, what's your stance on the plan of Fingal County Council to bring this enormous plant to the area?
Well, I mean, as we've seen from the amount of public outrage over the issue, I mean, the council, myself as a councillor, and I know a lot of the other councillors are totally opposed to it. The project is far too big, it's unnecessary, and at the end of the day I think it's going to be extremely hazardous to the local environment, whether that be the site that it ends up being built on, but also the outfall and then the amount of extra traffic it will generate with the trucks, 40 trucks an hour when the plant is operating at capacity, taking away the excess that can't be washed out to sea, so I'm absolutely 100% opposed to it.
A lot of people are puzzled by the fact that their local councillors, and you're not the first to have spoken against this, everyone we've spoken to is opposed to it. They're puzzled by the fact that the local councillors are against this, yet Fingal County Council is imposing this, or seems to be trying to impose this on the people. How can that be?
Well, this sort of strategic infrastructure is it's a reserve function, or it's an executive function, of the county manager. Now, it's quite clear from this process going back a number of years, and earlier at the meeting, I mean, the guys from Fairshare, who were the original campaign in Donabate Port ran, spoke on it. I mean, it's something that the county manager and his officials are 100% behind, and they have the function. I mean, the councillors can jump up and down But at the end of the day, the county manager has the power to impose it, if you like. Now, really, where I want the public and the community to be going is not just making a submission to the Greater Dublin Drainage email address, but to be getting on to Phil Hogan, because at the end of the day, the Minister for the Environment is the county manager's boss, if you like. And that's where it's going to live or die. This project is at Phil Hogan. If the public are very mobilised all across Fingal, all across rural North Dublin and the southern end of Dublin North, as we are in tonight, is they are mobilised and they have to let their government party TDs, their minister who's here, and Phil Hogan know that the people here won't accept Fingal being used as an area to import sewerage. Now, in the document it says it's a cost neutral project. I have no idea how that can be the case, or why we have senior officials in the local authority then who are so gung-ho to import waste from 7 other local authorities. You know, it just makes no sense. And the arguments were put forth tonight for small, localised, sustainable sewerage, wastewater treatment plants. You know, and that's what, I mean, nobody here says we want to ship our waste elsewhere. Every community is happy to deal with their own. But when you're talking about a 700,000 population equivalent plant coming in, being plonked somewhere in the middle of greenbelt lands around Fingal, it's just not on.
So Beverly, what's your response to what you've heard here tonight?
I'm very disgusted with it. I don't want a big plant going all over this coast. As we go for our walks through down to Malahide and the Coast Road, and I just don't want it there.
And are you going to take action?
I'm going to go to every meeting there is, yeah. I'm after going on the committee too.
So
I'll be coming to every meeting that goes against it, and I'll fight till the bitter end for it not to be there.
But what do you say when Fingal argue that our waste has to be processed somewhere?
Well, we don't mind, none of us here mind it being on our own site, and I think everybody else should look after their own waste, but not a big waste for Kildare and Wicklow and the whole East Coast. We don't want that here.
So no way is what you're saying?
No way. Absolutely no way.
Thank you very much. Senator Darragh O'Brien, we've spoken to you before about this, and you said you'd progress it in the Shannon. Can you tell us what progress you've been making?
Well, it's been raised 4 times in the Shannon now, 3 with Minister Phil Hogan and once with the Minister for Public Expenditure, Brendan Howlin. Now, I am happy to say that Brendan Howlin was more helpful than Minister Hogan on this, where he has given a commitment on the record of the Shannon that he will review this project. His own view and his experience as Minister for the Environment, he said it told him that sometimes engineers and architects like the massive, big, fantasy-style projects, right? And he has given a firm commitment to me on the record of the House that he will review this project. That's, in my view, a significant step forward and I've no reason to believe that he won't, if Minister Howlin sees through that commitment. So I will be following it up in another 2 weeks to ask who is he appointed to carry out that review, because I've given the Minister a reason and an example of how he can save money in his portfolio. It's simple, he can save money by not proceeding with this monster treatment plant proposal. So I was happy to be very fair to him with the response he gave, which I have to say is more than the response we've got from our own Minister in this constituency in North Dublin.
And do you think there's any point in members of the public contacting the Minister?
100%. I think with Minister Phil Hogan, it's absolutely vital that constituents in North Dublin make contact with Minister Phil Hogan and make contact with Minister James Riley, who's a senior minister in this area and who unfortunately hasn't attended any meetings in the North County, and we don't know where he stands on this. There are people from across the political divide at this meeting here this evening, as you would have seen at all meetings. This is a quality of life issue, and this is about protecting our environment here in North Dublin. So it should not be a political issue, but our minister here in North Dublin, he needs to say where he stands on this. He needs to lobby his own Minister Phil Hogan. And in the absence of him doing it, well, I'm going to do it. And colleagues such as Claire Daly, Councillor Owen O'Brien, Councillor David O'Connor and people like that will continue to do that. But it's important that the people of North Dublin make sure the Minister for the Environment, Phil Hogan, and Minister James Riley know exactly what they think of these proposals.
Any more public meetings coming up?
Yes, we've more planned. We'll have 2 more meetings in Portmarnock and in Malahide in the coming week. There's meetings planned in Balbriggan as well, I believe, and in Garristown. So this is going to continue on. and rightly so. This is our 9th meeting. We're not for turning on this. We're about building a momentum against this plant, and we're going to keep working. And the county manager has given me a commitment that he would accept submissions after the 2nd of December, so we have time to do that also. But this is just the beginning, and there's a great committee being set up working for the people of Fingal, and the meeting here this evening in KInsealy is crucially important because it's the first one we've had in the south end of Fingal, and so we're bringing everyone together now on this, and that's a fantastic thing.
Senator, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Last Tuesday night in Lusk, a number of communities, representatives from 9 of the communities that have held public meetings so far, got together and we formed the Reclaim Fingal Alliance. And so we're here tonight in KInsealy to bring the word about this whole project and about the alliance itself further afield now to try and garner some support from the rest of the country.
And what's this Reclaim Fingal Alliance calling for? What's its purpose?
Its purpose is to bring an end to the Greater Dublin Drainage Project, which seeks to, as you know, install a monster sewage treatment plant in Fingal to deal with sewage that is coming from 7 local authorities, and that would primarily treat sewage that is not actually originating here in Fingal itself.
So what's next in your plans?
Next in our plans, there is a submissions process at the moment, which ends on this coming Friday on December 2nd, and we're calling for as many people as possible to write to RPS and they're the PR consultants who are dealing with the project on behalf of Fingal County Council, or to drop them an email at info@greaterdublindrainage.ie to drop an email to your local council, the GD, and your Fingal County Council officials, and to let them know that we're very concerned about it and that we're very disappointed as well that the level of public engagement on the whole project hasn't really been at all adequate. We're calling for proper acknowledgement of the principle of public participation in public decision making, and to date it simply hasn't worked. They may have adhered to the letter of the law, but as you can see, you've been to all the public meetings, you can see the turnout and people saying, where has this come from, what is this about? And it's all very well to point to a notice in the newspaper in June or April of this year or whatever, but if nobody's reading them, it's really not effective. But we're also calling on the county manager and his officials to engage with us. I mean, there are thousands of people across Fingal now who are really engaged on this issue and who are very concerned about it. And it is an ideal opportunity for those responsible now to actually engage with us and to sit down and listen to our concerns and to listen to our ideas and to say, we don't believe this is the way to go, we believe that local plans are the way to go, that's the future. This is a relic, it's old technology, it's certainly going to be very old by the time it's fully commissioned. And we want something that's going to serve the needs of the community and also the Greater Dublin area well into the next century, never mind this century.
So Fingal County Council have a battle on their hands?
We certainly have, and we intend to see us through to the end.
Thank you, Brian. Well, there you have it. Fighting words from the Reclaim Fingal Alliance. It seems that Fingal County Council won't find this as easy to get through as perhaps they had believed. In our next report, we'll be bringing you exclusive footage from our visit to the Ringsend plant. It's quite an eye-opener. We'll have that up in the next few days. So, for FCTV, I'm Lorcan O'Toole.